Hello, my name is Alisha Byrd Clark, and I'm from Salisbury, North Carolina, in Rowan County. Born and raised, basically been here all of my life besides going off to college for 4 years in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I am the daughter of Patricia Byrd Sturdivant, and I have a daughter, Chastity Byrd, and two sons, Devin Brown and Rashawn Cook, two grandchildren, Ariana and Kyrie. So I grew up on the west side of Salisbury, and so close proximity to Salisbury High School, Knox, and Overton. So those were the schools that I actually went to. Basically, during my K-12 years, that's actually where I resided with my grandparents who are now deceased, Minnie and Jesse Byrd. And so after high school, I moved to Winston-Salem, of course, for 4 years of college at Winston-Salem State University, and then came right back home. Rowan County is where it is. Some people actually go off to college and never come back, but Salisbury has always been the center of my heart. And so I'm glad of the decision that I made to go off to college and then be able to come back and serve the community in which I grew up in. It's funny how, as an adult, you consider your village being adults, but I consider my village being youth. That's where Gemstones and Compass Leadership Academy really, centers around our youth. So Gemstones and Compass Leadership Academy is an academy for at-risk youth in our area, and it's for ages 5th through 12th grade. We provide youth the skill set to unwrap their hidden gifts, talents, and abilities with a compass, which stands for being confident, optimistic, motivated, persistent, assertive, studious, and successful. I started Gemstones out of it comprised from a book that I wrote, which is Gemstones: Embrace Her, Become Her, Love Her. And I never knew that the book would actually turn into something so great. When I met Alex, he was working on Compass. And so we just ended up merging both of our organizations together and came up with Gemstones and Compass Leadership Academy. So with the hidden gifts, talents, and abilities. And so we've seen such great things come out of young girls and young boys. Those who have been introverts at one point are just flourishing into the young ladies and men that we knew they had the potential of becoming. And so even with Gemstones and Compass, we offer mentoring and tutoring opportunities. But outside of that, community is important. So we've been able to open up a food pantry to service anyone in the community in need. And so that's one of the great parts of, because you just never know who might need what you have, and you might never know who have what you need. I remember him sending me a message on Facebook Messenger asking me the protocol of my organization. And so we met for lunch one day, and the rest was history. And it was just like he helped me, get my 501c3 status, and we talked about family, community, life, everything. And it was just like an instant connection. We became business partners, and it's like our relationship just grew and flourished into so much more. And not long after that, I became, Alex Clark's wife. Alex was just an amazing man. Alex was the type of person that if you had a community forum, when he spoke, people stopped, they listened, they took in what he had to say. He spoke from his heart. He was honest. He didn't sugarcoat anything. If there was an issue going on in our community, he was passionate about relaying what was going on without hurting anyone's feelings. He was just a catalyst for change, and he was just a great roundabout individual. His presence is missed by so many. I feel like in such a short period of time, he gave our community what we needed during those years, and he has left a legacy and big shoes to fill. He was a compass. I mean, he was just a navigational tool for so many that just were indecisive about different things and just needed someone to talk to. He was always willing to listen, but he was always direct and willing to share his opinion no matter what. When Alex and I, it was not long after we formed Gemstones and Compass. And so one day in particular, he got out of the car and he was limping. And I was like, what happened? Did you sprain your ankle? What's going on? He was like, I have no idea what has taken place. And so he reached out to his primary care physician. He got on it, real quickly with doing blood work and just running different tests and everything. And so he ended up sending him to a neurologist at Lake Norman, and he ran a series of tests. He went through acupuncture. I mean, just so many different things. He had been poked and prodded on so much and still no conclusive diagnosis. And so Dr. Brown ended up taking him through another series of tests and sending him somewhere else. And that's when it came back that he felt like Alex had ALS. So we began attending the ALS clinic at Baptist, and it was confirmed there. We also went to the University of Illinois and for a second opinion. And so the doctor there said MS and ALS mirrors each other so much. And so he too felt like it was ALS. And so not long after he got the second opinion, and Alex had made this public service announcement about ALS and what he was experiencing. He felt as though people were wondering why he was limping, why his hands were a little bit different. Alex was such a prideful person, but the thing about it was he came to the realization that him coming forward could actually save somebody else's life. And so he had to let that pride go. Not long after that, we put together a fundraiser for a stem cell transplant. And so him and I went to West Palm Beach, Florida, and he had a stem cell transplant done. And so our hope was that it would slow down the progression of ALS, which in a sense it did. But it was after he got the stem cell transplant, Alex and I ended up getting married about a year later. 6 weeks after we got married, he went into respiratory failure. And so Alex was on a ventilator for 30 days at Rowan Regional, Novant. It's like he had to get a trach, he had to get a feeding tube, and all of these different things to sustain his life. And so he did pretty well for about a year and a half. And it's just like after that, ALS just started progressing. But even with ALS, even with all that, he never missed a beat with ministering to those who needed it. He would go to dinner and dialogue with a vent in his wheelchair, and he sat there and gave the men and the boys what they needed. And so even in that, he never stopped. And I will never forget, Miss Edders from Salisbury High School had reached out to me, and she said, Alisha, we're doing Tuesdays with Maury. And she said, I don't know if you've ever read the book, which I had. And she said, but Maury is a story about a man with ALS. And she said, with us doing problem-based learning, we want to incorporate someone who has ALS so that our students can actually get a visual of it. And so I asked Alex about participating, and he was like, of course I'll do it. Well, not long after that, Alex ended up back in the hospital. And I will never forget him waking me up one morning and was like, what about the babies? And I'm like, what babies? What do you mean, what about the babies? And he said, I promised the students at Salisbury High School that I would do, an interview. That day, I went over to Salisbury and talked to Luke Byrd. I'm like, I have a problem. Alex is in the hospital. How are we going to make this work? Because he was just a man of his word. If he said he was going to do something, he was going to do it. Went to Salisbury High, and Luke said, Alisha, let me handle it. So what he ended up doing was assembling all the students in the auditorium, and we did a Zoom from the hospital. In the background, you see the monitors going off, you hear all the beeping noises, but Alex is here on this Zoom screen answering questions that the students at Salisbury High School had. It was just like you could see some who were teary-eyed. You could see, and I guess they were just so shocked at the fact that this man is in his hospital bed, but he still chose to keep his promise to us. Before I knew it, the word had gotten around the hospital that Alex had done a Zoom with Salisbury High School students, and they sent him these cards. That's the type of man that he was. He was a man of his word. Even after that, it was, I think, 2 days later, Alex was almost out of here. His blood pressure had went up real high, and it was just really, really crazy. Like the attack of ALS had really kicked in after he did the interview with Salisbury High School students. I remember one pastor coming in and him telling Alex, you've done more on your back than most men have done on their feet. Alex's thing to me was, when I leave here, I want to leave empty. And he did because he poured out to so many people during those last days of his life. And I know he did. He left the way that he wanted to. And it's my duty as his wife to make sure that those that are here now and those who are yet to come to know about the type of man that he was. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than Alex. It's about the future leaders of the world, which are our kids. We owe them that. Regardless of your race, regardless of your gender, we have kids that we have to uplift and build up. It's about them. They are our community. And if we can't get along because of the color of your skin and because of the gender you are, we have a serious problem. We are role models for our kids. And that's what he stood for. That's what we stand for. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than Alex. It's about just making a difference.
Here's My Story is funded in part by the Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation. To share your story, please contact Rowan Cabarrus Community College by emailing here'smystory@rccc.edu.